I couldn't wait to get G Cobb in here. And before we get him in here, I want to one more time circle back and the Cowboy thing. You're 13 days out from the start of the season, and you're taking a shit on Dak Prescott by going out and trading for a guy who stinks, and then turning around and trying to validate the move by bashing Dak Prescott. I just, the way the Cowboys do business compared to the Eagles is right there front and center to you. It just doesn't make sense. You trade for a guy and then you upset the quarterback and the whole room. This is the kind of stuff, again, self-inflicted wounds. Let's bring G Cobb in from Fox 29. And Garry, the way the Eagles do business versus the Cowboys is front and center right there in that Trey Lance deal.
Well, I think you're very right in that, the Eagles, Jeffrey Lurie likes to know what's going on, but he's not going to come in and just strong arm or get in the, start something. He's not going to do that. He's going to be in the flow of what they're doing. And they're looking at a plan down the road. They've already talked about who they're going to get. They're not going to just get hot over somebody, at the last minute and go out and grab them and everything. No, there's got to be a plan to it. And so the whole thing about the mindset of the team is very important. If your quarterback's not right, you're not right. That's the way it is. This is a quarterback-driven league. And to be making this move with this kid who's been stinking up the joint, he's a project. That's what the kid is.
I'm going to say something to you, Garry, here. I said this in the last hour. I think if Dak Prescott wants to win a Super Bowl, he's got to get out of Dallas. And I think Jerry Jones holds him back because for him to do the thing, everyone, it's easy, isn't it, Garry, to always dump on us, the players. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when the owner puts all these self-inflicted wounds out there on the team for the last 30 years, I say that he's got to get out of Dallas if he wants to win a Super Bowl, because he's not going to win because that guy constantly getting in the way.
Jerry he's more a fan than anything else. He loves the game and
yes.
And he should be celebrated for that, but he's got to stay in his lane. If he would just, put a barrier up so he can't go in and start meddling, he screwed that organization up for it's been, decade after decade, really. And I'm not going to say the player's name that, talked to me about this, but he's a player that's been there all these years. He's been around the team. He's been one of the keys, one of the reasons, they have the trophy sitting there and stuff. But we talked about this, and Jerry loves the game. Jerry loves the players. That's why he got to stay away from the players, because he's going to fall in love with a guy. And now what is the coach going to say to the guy? If the guy's got a close relationship with the owner, the guy knows, look, you can't tell me what to do. Me and Jerry are like this. So you hurt the player. See, you hurt him because he needs a coach to kick him in his butt. You need to get pushed sometime. Everybody needs that. And when you take that away, it's not like this is baseball. Baseball's different, A guy pushing you and pushing you might not be the way all the time. You need to be pushed in football. Football's an uncomfortable sport. You got to be pushing yourself. And if you want to be a great team, you need guys to come in and be able to tell you, look, man, you got to step it up. And your coach has got to be able to do that and know that he doesn't have somebody standing in back of him that's making everything he says, no power in it. And
hey, Garry, I look at Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
And to me, he's the NFL's version of Donald Trump. And what I mean by that is he just loves the attention, good or bad, whether it's a mugshot or whether it's a trade for a bum. Both these guys, they just love the publicity of the publicity.
Yeah.
And they don't care about the collateral damage. And I think that's he reminds me of Trump. It just seems that, hey, if you're not talking about the Cowboys, good or bad, then you need to be.
That's the way Jerry is, and Jerry's a great businessman. And he's really one of the keys for the success of the league.
Absolutely.
Stay in your lane, Jerry. You're not a football coach. Stay in your lane. And that's something, I'm wondering, some of the guys that told me about, the situation down there, that they shouldn't go over there and just have it out with Jerry to tell him for his own good. But it's too late now.
Aikman has gone to him and said, let people be and do their jobs. It's almost like, they had a guy in the building. They had Jimmy Johnson, Larry Lacewell, and they had a guy by the name of Bob Ackles. You remember all them guys?
I remember. Come on.
Okay. I mean, those guys were the football ops guy with Jimmy.
Yes.
And those were the people that were bringing the talent. They haven't had guys like those dudes in that building in a long time.
Because guys that are serious, after they see, Jerry come in there and meddle, some of the guys, they don't take it seriously. Now, the organization is making all kind of money.
Absolutely.
But it's not about the money. They want to win some championships. And the only way you can do it with football is you got to have somebody there with some pointed boots kicking people in the butt.
Absolutely.
All right. The way around it.
Derek Barnett. Drew Rosenhaus is the agent. Obviously, that was handled very well. And I would think that Howie enjoyed how that Darius Slay thing was handled this offseason with being able to keep the guy, get the $3.5 million. Drew Rosenhaus is his agent. And for me, I like how this is being handled. Again, we talked about Jerry and the Cowboys and how they handled that Lance deal. This is more like, I would think, hey, you want to find a dance partner, we'll be, and if there's a good return, I mean, I could see some place like Cleveland or a place like the Jets where there's a relationship with the general manager and say an Andrew Berry or a Joe Douglas. I mean, just give me your sense of this whole thing here, that Barnett. It doesn't seem that it's adversarial too. It looks like they want him, but if you can move him, they'll look at what the compensation is. So, I mean, they're kind of in the middle here with this. Am I right?
That's right, because they got depth at the position. See, they've got a lot of players. The thing about with Barnett is the kid plays hard. I mean, sometimes he gets some stupid penalties, but you cannot say he does not play hard. And that just brings something to your team, Football's not a kissy game, and not out there trying to make friends. So Barnett is the guy that's going to come in there and he got no problem with, I'm not going to say he's a dirty player, but, if he's got a chance, well, I might be getting there later, whatever, he's coming, okay? And if he happens to hit your quarterback and that throws him out of his game, I've seen him do that where he's messing a guy up because they know he's there. And he plays hard. So I think that because of the way he's played for the Eagles, they kind of know that they really have got some young players they would like to put in position and give them a shot. So I could see where they want to move him, and it's good for him and good for the team.
How about this? Would you be open to bringing Jason Peters in as backup for the offensive line?
I'm thinking that at one point, Jason's going to be in the grave, and somebody's going to be digging him out.
Hey, I said this before, Gary. You know what a GOAT move is when you do this. Look, I'm retired. No, please play. I tell everyone, I wish to God somebody had called me and said, hey, please, we want you to come and play. I'm on the other end going, please sign me.
Hey, come on.
I mean,
for a couple million, hey, what time you want me to be there?
Yeah, right. Hey, man, just to sit there. Here, you want some water? What am I making? $4 million? There you go.
That's right.
I'm in. I mean, because they let loose of Dennis Kelly. I was a little shocked with that they let loose of that. But how do you feel about this group going in compared to last year's group?
Well, the reason that they let that move, they let that happen, I feel good about the group. The kid Tyler Steen is the reason that they let Kelly go.
Oh, okay.
Tyler Steen
had a good camp.
He's a good camp, and he looks good. I see him out there working. He's not intimidated by anybody. He's a big, strong kid, and he's got a mean streak. He's really looked good at tackle. And he's really played a lot more tackle than he has guard. But he's very comfortable. I think they're comfortable with putting him in there. They wouldn't have a problem with him playing either side. So that's the reason that they are letting Kelly go. It's because of Steen. And he's going to be there, and he can play multiple positions.
Absolutely, man. You could put him at right tackle or left guard. I mean, anywhere.
And of course, they have Jack Driscoll too.
Yeah.
He's
the ultimate Swiss Army knife there.
Yeah, so they've got people.
Do you think this coaching staff is better than last year's coaching staff?
I would say right now I couldn't say that they are, but I think there's a chance.
Well, did you have a high opinion of last year's staff?
No, I don't. I'm not crazy about that staff.
Yeah.
But you know what? They got to the Super Bowl.
They did. That's right. That's right.
I got to give them credit for that. But
that's fair.
I think they could be better. I really like the some of the things I like. I'm interested in seeing though the defensive coach in a game. I feel comfortable about what's happening on the offensive side of the ball. They got a lot of the same people making the decisions, so I feel comfortable with what they got there, and really they got a scary offense. I think that passing attack is better than it was last year.
I'm going to throw this at you here.
Yeah.
Angelo Cataldi does not think much of Nick Sirianni. He was on with us last week, and he thinks he's a cheerleader.
But I think I don't agree with that.
Tell me why, Garry.
Well, I don't agree with that because he knows football. The guy does know what he's doing. He knows especially.
Is it football or he knows people?
Well, both.
Okay.
Both. And I think you got to have both. I think you got to have a feel for people in order to be able to be a good football coach. And the thing is, though, is he knows the attack that they put together, the pressure it's putting on different people, the way they're going to be attacking people. It's not an accident. I see them out there. They're gonna have this, what they did last year. They're moving it up a notch. The receivers, and he was a receivers coach, but he knows the pass offense. He knows the run offense, and especially their pass offense. It's going to take another step up because they got a better feel for each other. They're going to know what other teams are in. Teams are going to try to be playing too deep because they respect both of the receivers outside that they have, and they're ready to attack them right now. I'll tell you that because you don't have that safety up there. Can you stop them from running the ball? Probably not. And throwing the ball, they're going to be on the attack downfield. You're going to expect more out of Goddard this year. He's healthy, and you got those weapons outside, man. And I think Jalen, like I said, I think they're better than they were last year. So then you look at the defensive side of the ball. That is where going to have the questions because they've got some young people in key positions, starting at the linebacker position with Nakobe Dean in there in the middle. They're expecting a lot of him right away, and that's going to be a challenge. I'm going to be interested in seeing that. Zach Cunningham will be the other linebacker, and the kid Ellis will be on the field a lot. I think Ellis is better against the pass. He's a very good pass defender. So, and then you got the safeties. That's what's going to be interesting. But I think they're going to pass. I think they're going to they're going to have a good season, and a good season. I'm talking about 12, 13 wins. I think they're in the playoffs. But of course, you got to stay healthy. And the big thing they got to do is reduce the threats to Jalen Hurts. And Jalen has got to get into where he's dumping that ball down like Montana did for years and all the other great quarterbacks. Give the ball to your running back. Rather than you scramble, you dump the ball to Swift. Let him run with the ball. See, that's what he's got to do more and more. Don't need to take off and run. Let's look for that running back. Boom, we dump the ball. You run with the ball.
But Garry, I never thought about it until you just said it. If you want to have self-preservation, it's not about the plus 25 plays. It's about the 5-yard little dump-offs that keep the sticks moving and less contact on you and getting that screen game going. So Swift might be one of the most important people in this offense if they want to move the chains without putting that guy in harm's way. That could be the key to keeping this guy preserved the entire 17-game season.
And that is the idea. Swift is great at catching the ball out of the backfield. He does a great job with his patience, with the screen game and the draw game. And, you got Gainwell. He's very good and getting better because he's learning more from Swift, because Swift's got great patience with it. That's the way the running backs have run the screen game the best. And I know from being in there and watching them, if a guy's too quick, he gives it away. You know right away he's running the screen. Plus, some guys will start doing things they don't realize their arms start shaking when they're going to get the screen, you know, rather than be patient. He's quiet with his feet, takes his time and lets you get the drop, and then boom, he gets that screen, and he got great vision and explosiveness. And so you're going to see a lot of that this year, and that's why they want to get that ball out of Jalen's hands on those plays, and that's going to be one of the keys to the season because he's not going to be a threat to get hurt.
Two last questions for you here. I was talking to Vilma over the weekend, and I asked him about Nakobe Dean. He goes, it's not a question of whether or not the guy can play. It's going to be also a question, and of course, you playing the linebacker position, he said this about tipping the defenses off because he'll want to get the defense set so that he can make adjustments if he has to. Correct. Because he goes, the more experience you get, the more you take that quarterback down to that 5-second mark when they set the line. Correct. Where you can make your adjustments. And he goes, that comes with reps. He goes, you're right. And then he goes, I'm not even talking about whether or not the kid can play. I'm talking about if he can get these guys lined up correctly. Because when you play against – and I never thought about that, Garry.
You are so right. You are so right.
He's like this. He goes, is he going to tip off the defenses too soon? Because he's going to want to get those guys set.
That's right. You want to be patient, and especially if you got veteran players, you know, they can play the game with you where they're cool. They're not going to be panicking. And you can tell them in the huddle, look, we're going to slide. This is what be ready for it, but we're going to do this, but I'll let you know when. And he's got to have that kind of poise in there. But that will be the key because they got a pass rush. And there are going to be times where people are going to be trying to get an advantage on them. But the longer that he can wait and be poised, and you're going to see this team on the attack. And the defense is going to be the key to the season. The offense is going to be there. They're going to be scoring a lot of points. Will the defense be able to respond? And we'll know that, you know, as the season goes along, but we'll be looking at those safeties and the linebackers.
Last question for you. How concerned are you about this Patriots game? I mean, you know, there's so much of the kryptonite that they have. I mean, their offensive line is not what it was with Skarnatsky up there a couple of years back. It's a little bit lesser of a talented group. They've got some good people. They've added Zeke. I don't know what he has left in the tank. The kid Stevenson's good, though.
Yeah.
To me, I said this a couple minutes ago about the Patriots. I said, you're going to want to limit the Eagles to 10 series in a game, make it a fourth quarter football game.
Yes.
And just try to beat them in the fourth quarter and take your shot in the fourth quarter. Because, Garry, I don't think they have enough offensive skill set to hang with the Philadelphia Eagles. But if they make it a fourth quarter game, it's week one. We all know what happens in week one. That could be an interesting ball game. It's 4.5 points now, but does it concern you a little bit?
Well, it definitely does because the type of legacy they have up there, to where they teach guys to play smart football, and that's where the type teach. And it's really gonna come down to what they're doing at the quarterback position up there because last year he didn't play well. Can the Eagles force a turnover early? Can they get him rattled and get to him early? That's going to be the key to the game. Because the Eagles are going to score some points. If they could get a turnover and get that offense shaky there early, then they could go ahead and make this thing easy. But if they're able to put together long drives and they're scoring points against the Eagles and they're like you said, they're taking those long drives with the dink and dunks, eating up the clock. That's the kind of game the Patriots want to play against the Eagles. So they need a turnover or something here or there. And that's going to be the key, really, to this season for this team is can that defense, can they answer the bell and can they answer it early? That's going to be the key to the season.
SC go all the way this year?
They got a ways to go. That defense didn't impress me. They're going to score points, but that defense, man, I'm going like, oh, man, these kids.
But, Garry, I got to say this to you about this Lincoln Riley guy.
Yes.
Horrible defenses at OU.
Yeah.
And when me and you were in college, they were legendary defenses.
That's right.
When you played at Southern Cal,
they
were legendary defenses at Southern Cal, legendary offenses.
Yes.
I'm talking O-line and running backs and receivers. I mean, boy, man, it's a different looking football program.
That's right.
That doesn't look like the Trojans I know, man.
No, they got to get much better on the defensive side. But, you know, I give them credit. I mean, he is very innovative when it comes to offense. He's always got 3 or 4 steps ahead of the defense. And he does a great job. And what they do is he's calling the play from the sideline. And they're making audibles in there, man. And I got to admit, they can score points. So, because they're going to have to, because that defense got a long way to go, man.
I tell you what, man, I got to say, you played at the LA Coliseum and you played at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Man. And, of course, Boyle Stadium.
That's right.
Hey, Garry, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day.
You got it. The great Garry Cobb, man. Fox 29's Garry Cobb. We appreciate him always coming aboard with us. Hey, by the way, don't forget, 40th anniversary. 40th anniversary. You got it, the Hooters, and we're proud to be involved with them as they have chosen the National Football Show to be the official home of this coming fall season here, and we're so proud to be a part of it. Thank you so much. NortheastHooters.com, one of the 7 locations nearest you. During this football season, make sure you get there and have yourself a cold one, man, and have yourself a great time. Fantasy draft parties. This is the place you're going to want to go. By the way, don't forget King of Prussia. We're going to be there each and every single month, and we look forward to seeing a lot of you out there with us. The iconic Hooter girls are going to be there serving you. The 40th anniversary, great specials like Tuesdays, you buy 10 wings, you get 10 boneless free. Wing Wednesdays, 1983. All you can eat on Saturdays. I mean, fantastic time for all. It's always, I've known these folks for 40 years. I've known Phil, the owner. I know Greg, everyone that's involved with the Hooters in the Northeast area. By the way, one more time, go to NortheastHooters.com, go online, find one of the 7 locations nearest you for you. Find out what I've been talking about. They're great happy hours, $6, 6 items, fried pickles, special. When you go to Hooters, do me a favor. You make sure you tell them Big Sil sent you.